Our upside projections from the weekend analysis thread met with a small deviation from the true targets. A balance between the 3-hour and daily timeframes could be the determining factors over tomorrow's price targets. Not to mention the monthly close brought in a very nice silver cross. Welcome back to the channel on this happy Monday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into ticker symbol FNGR. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. Let's go ahead and dive in to ticker symbol FNGR, and we are looking at this on the 3-hour time frame here. And as you can see, the price action ended up going to way sky high, right? Specifically to these targets that we were speaking of over the analysis thread over the weekend, right? So this here was the target that I had talked about reaching potentially after lunchtime today, right? But unfortunately, fortunately enough, whatever which way it met it, right? What I'm trying to say here is that the upside targets were said to be reached after lunch, right? But we ended up getting them before lunch. That's all good. Nonetheless, it's still met, right? So I really wanted to see it after lunch because of the thrust to the upside that we could have experienced. We could very well have beat that 752 top, but yeah, the projections were leading to 726 to 752. Price action came up to a high of $7.37. So it did come in to that 50% of the range, right? So looking good. So anyway, let's go back to this chart here and take a look at what's happening here, okay, team? So clearly, you can already see what's above us, right? Right there at this very top side target, that is that very 797 that we faced mid-September when we actually rejected and actually came back all the way to the downside, and ARCa was a short seller, right? And ARCa was the Lynn partners and everything, right? I was accused of every single mistake ever created in life here, including the birth of some very nefarious people on Earth, right? So I'm just messing around, guys. But yeah. This is also we were able to tell here that we were going to likely face a bottom side before a continuation to the upside based on the statistical backtest here using the quad witching, right? The quadruple witching, which is the expiry of all major contracts, including futures and single options contracts, right? So based on that closure, we noticed that 17 out of 27 iterations led to an upside. So that gave us a 62, almost 63% upside accuracy based on the read that we got here for the quadruple witching. And one more thing to notice here is that 9 iterations total led to a move that was beyond 100% to the upside. So, and now 4 out of those 9 led to a move that was beyond 100%. Meaning that we had some parabolic upsides there, right? Leading up to 450%, right? Some leading to 136, some to 1400%, right? Lots of deviation there, lots of variance, within that. And that parabolic upside probability came into a 58.82% probability that we would get it after a drop to around this target here where we determined where the floor could be, $4.84. The floor actually came back down to $4.82 before we got that recovery. So team, the statistics are playing out very nice. The back tests are all playing just the way they should be. And our upside is absolutely happening right before our eyes, right? So if we ended up getting this retracement to that 484, we've already moved to the upside, including today's high, 51.89% from our projections, okay? So everything is looking really good. I'm going to go ahead and point out here at the ARQ Enhanced MACD, and this is a volatility versus momentum indicator, right? All based on just one single indicator with a buy and sell strategy built into it, right? This is part of the ARQ series, just like you saw in the introduction. Those indicators, we already released these; they're already in pre-order. So go ahead and get in touch with us at arqindicators@gmail.com to get your hands on these indicators, right? So go ahead and notice here that we actually printed that short signal right up here and still haven't printed a signal here for the upside, but something tells me, and I think we actually did look at this in the live, so if I didn't, I apologize about that, but if we dive into the 12-hour, which is just one time frame before, please notice here that we already have that bull signal printed, and we were highly contracted in volatility, right? Volatility represented by the bands, the clouds in the background, right? So as soon as you start to get these volatility bands to expand right away from each other, that shows that a high amount of volume is coming in to trade into the asset, right? So naturally, you're going to see contraction with very tight little momentum pivots, little momentum circles here. You're gonna start noticing that those little circles are gonna start expanding away from each other further and further. Due to expansion, just like here, right? You see a huge amount of expansion, and the dots were very far apart from each other. So that is a clear indication of expansion and more shares being traded in the market, up or down. In this case, we are using momentum here, which is using the MACD signal line to signal us whether we're going towards an upside or downside based on the volatility expansion or contraction. So things are looking pretty good. This is your regular MACD here, showing you that we do have an upside pivot even still, and we have green bars printing very nicely here on the 12-hour time frame. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is that the 12-hour time frame will likely bleed into the daily time frame to show us a long signal here at any moment. And that said, we are actually getting a very nice crossover here on the daily time frame MACD, getting our first green bar, and it's looking very positive. Okay, team. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have here. Okay, so this chart is very important for us. The reason why this chart has been incredibly important for us, team, is because we've already realized the very bottom side of the target here based on this ascending broadening wedge, right? That we called it from way up here, right? So we knew that this was going to come back down based on a very traditional strategy, back down to the area of $5.87. Of course, we met it perfectly, right? And resisted from it a bunch of times, and also used it as a support before a continuation to the upside. Sorry, right over here. Let me just go ahead and bring this down. There we go. This was the support before a continuation onto the upside, right? So yeah, you can see just really how much these supports are used, right? So now, if you can see that this is the ascending broadening wedge target here, the descending broadening wedge also has a target to be looked at, and this is going to be a bullish target and one that can be found at the genesis of the formation. That genesis is located right up here at $7.82, and that, my friends, has has some rhyming with the topside target. So it's very much confluent to the 797 top side that we experienced back in mid-September, right? So what I'm saying here is that I do see that there is a probability of reaching up to those targets in the coming days, and we will continue validating this as we move. Okay, team. So let me just go ahead and scooch this over just like this, so that we can understand where we may be trading, right? So this could be the zone here. We will observe this as we move, team, and we will absolutely make sure that we can keep a close eye on things like this, right? So you can see here, you can see here that on Friday, this was Friday at market open, we ended up getting a very nice silver cross here, which is the EMA 21 crossing upside of the EMA 55. That is still suggesting an upside pivot, and it is still suggesting a continuation to the upside. First of all, based on the crossover hosting both of the moving averages with an upside pivot, right? So that is very important that we do get that upside pivot crossover instead of getting one moving average on a downside pivot and getting the other one to crossover. That's not good. It's always best to see our moving average strategies cross over with an upside pivot when we're looking for a bullish crossover. Okay, team, so let's move on and actually validate these targets here. And a very simple way to do that is actually through this chart here. This is actually let me see. I think I actually have that right over here as a take profit from this zone. Okay, there we go. Just like that. Go ahead and take a trend line. This is a right angle triangle that we've been observing here for some time. Let me just block it out like this, right? And then what you do here is apply this trend line to the breakout candle. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go ahead and, there we go. and you apply it right here to the breakout candle, and that topside target that it comes out to is, check it out, $7.98. And that is how you trade a right angle triangle, or in the trade known as a descending triangle. Right, so yeah, that is leading to $7.98, which is very much rhyming with the top side of $7.97. And this was our range for today, 726 to 752. I must say that it would be best if we can close at least an hourly to maybe a 4-hour candle upside of the area of 752 in order for us to get that continuation to the upside, particularly the 797 and beyond those targets, right? I do see enough thrust to make that happen in the shorter time frame, but we have to continue validating here. So now that we know that we have that top side of 798 based on this is actually a mathematical property, right? So you're taking a trend line from the hypotenuse of the triangle all the way down to the bottom support of the triangle, and this psychological / mathematical upside gets placed on that candle there, giving you that 798. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and pair that geometric upside, right, with our where is it? With our statistical upside. Are we on the? Yeah, we're on the statistical upside here. Okay, so the statistical upside is leading us to $8.84. Okay, so that is already clearly going to be a huge area of resistance. Okay, very, very large area of resistance, and very likely for us to face a resistance starting from that 797. Okay, so don't get freaked out, but we will potentially face a serious pullback from this area here, but it's only gonna put some lemon on the cut here, as the bulls will probably be very unhappy that the price action is coming down. It's gonna allow another opportunity for price action to continue onwards and upwards. So the statistical upside, the first one, right, of 33.40%, which was this one right here, that was the statistical mean. That is actually perfectly met. That target was 701, and we are currently sitting, even Webull says 701, but right now, TradingView algorithm is giving us $7, which means that we are now validating the statistical upside as a support before continuing on to the upside. So this is looking very powerful, team. I am definitely a fan of what I'm looking at here. Not only do we have this geometric upside here based on geometric and psychological upside leading to that 796, but we also have the 2.272 geometric retracement fib, the Fibonacci retracement ratio coming in at $7.94. So that is very, very much rhyming, right? So we have a lot of things here. When you have a lot of targets rhyming like this, team, that usually means that price action is gonna want to reach that, given that we validate which side volatility is favoring, right? So right now, volatility is certainly favoring the upside, and we have been talking about this since way down here. Okay, team. So, yeah, I think that there is a strong shot of getting the top side move here based on the volatility versus momentum backtest, which is anytime that volatility has contracted within this 15 percentile and started an expansion phase. And that paired with an upside of stochastic momentum gave us these sample sets here, measured the duration, the upside thrust, and the amount of or the frequency, right, of correct versus incorrect. And here is our data set right over here, right? So that 68.52% would actually be the upper bound of the first standard deviation from our distribution curve, the bell curve, right? So that is actually what I'm still kind of talking about here, right? Target that is very high. It is very confluent with the 2.618 geometrical golden mean here at $8.82. Literally the meaning of life, the 618 Fibonacci ratio. I'm not even joking. Go ahead and Google that. All right, team. So, yes, that is what I am showing here based on the statistical backtest. And this is actually something that I call the footprint model, and something that you will be learning in the ARC Masters course that I just recently announced, right, team? So, right, I'm going to announce it here, right, so I can get the people who are actually serious about the trade. So let's go ahead and just put it in like this. So reach out to me at ARC Masters course at gmail.com to get you enrolled in the program. Okay, so I've already received, I've only announced it 2 times, I think, right? A third weird time at 20 minutes on FNGR, right, over the weekend. But on 2 live situations, I've already, or 2 live streams, sorry, I keep on saying situation, right? 2 live streams, I've already announced this, right? And I've already received around 45 emails regarding this. So I am really only trying to take max 30 people here. Okay, so go ahead and make sure to get in touch with me, and we will see about getting you enrolled into the ARC Masters course. And yeah, team, so let's go ahead and move on to the next chart here and see what else we have. So this is a very important chart here because these are displaying the targets that would be beyond the $7.97 zone, right? So first of all, the resistance that we are to face is between 789 and 797, okay? So that falls in line with the 794 of the 2-spot 272 in the previous chart right over here, right? And that is now taking us to the full-on support, or the bottom side of the resistance being 789. The focus that I'm looking at here is $8.83 based on that statistical upside, but it has a total range of $9.81, okay? I'm not saying that we're going to go there tomorrow. I'm just giving you what I am seeing here based on historical resistances, right, team? Everything is looking good. Now, the next thing that we want to focus on here for sure is that we have the daily time frame upside of the SMA 50 here, right? So that is very, very bullish. Let's see what else we have here. The 3-day time frame is actually we're actually getting indications of an early SMA 50 over the SMA 200, which would signal a golden cross, and that is looking very likely. And honestly, it could happen not this week, but it's very possible for it to happen into late next week, right? And we'll go ahead and observe that and observe price action as it does that. But what I can tell you is that as we are approaching this moving average, that's when price action is highly likely to continue on to that upside. Okay, so the last time that the SMA 50 was upside of the SMA 200 on the daily time frame, that's right over here. That was the last time, right over here, March 2022. So what's about to happen on the 3-day time frame is quite a big deal. Okay, so yeah, price action will likely continue to the upside here. All right, so one more thing that we wanted to talk about is the on balance volume. Please notice here that yes, we do have some pullbacks, right? But I want you to notice the overall trend here, because it looks like the asset is being acquired. And yes, we do have some short-term periods to where people release some of that asset, but overall upside pivot here, a very clean regression to the upside, showing that there's really a huge imbalance on selling versus acquiring, right? So yeah, it's the asset is incredibly bullish. I mean, today alone, the volume was massive. I mean, we're talking about 2.75 million, right, in volume traded today. That was just massive. On Friday, you're looking at 1.6 million. You're looking at 810,000 on the day before that, and the day prior to that, 554 and 430. You see how it's decreasing? We're just increasing that volatility, and that is usually what you can consider as expansion, right? Not only that is, please go ahead and take a look at your daily time frame volume, as it is very much coinciding with your price action. That is bullish control. All right, team, that is looking very good. Let's move on to the last chart here, and this is going to be the RSI. So yeah, go ahead and take a look at here that we have a downside pivot on that 30-minute, only to be caught by the 3-hour time frame right over here, which is in the bullish control zone, okay, and also the gravitational zone. So we'll just get a short-term pullback there before a continuation to the upside. And I do suspect that to be right at around $6.88 to about $6.77. Okay, so let's just go ahead and kind of put it out like that. 688 to 677 would be the bottom side here, or one of them to look at, right, before a continuation to the upside. Of course, we still have 657 at the 3-spot 618, but let's observe these first, right? And then we shall see. Right, but other than that, yeah, moving on to the 12-hour time frame in the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile with an upside pivot, very nice upside pivot on that SMA 14, suggesting nothing but upside, right? Here, right, we already saw this. Let's go ahead and move on to the daily time frame. Now moving outside of this danger zone here, where we would get pulled back, right? So that's looking very good. The bi-daily time frame. Here we go, guys. The bi-daily time frame has that resistance here in the gravitational zone, and same situation here with a 3-day time frame and with the 5-day time frame. What does that mean? Well, that means that I feel like maybe the 5-day time frame and the 3-day time frame may be the ones responsible to taking us all the way to the areas of about 80. Whoa, pardon me. To the area of about 883 before a pullback. If that's not the case, then we would have to correlate that with the 797 top. Okay, team, but of course there is a little bit of upside here to look at based on the 797 top, right? And this is what I mean right back here on this candle right over here. That would be $8.20. So if the bi-daily, 3-day, and 5-day are suggesting resistance, there are two possibilities. This one would be one of them right over here at 797 to 820. In reality, it would be 789 to 820 as a resistance, and then beyond this would be the $8.83 zone, which would be the statistical upside and completion of the daily time frame historical volatility versus stochastic momentum setup footprint. Okay, team, so I think that this is pretty much what should be happening. Here's the pullback targets that you're looking for, right? And here are the upside targets that we're looking for. Now you know the plan. Now you know the play. Let's see what happens tomorrow, right, team? Please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything would be absolutely cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good rest of your night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios. Yeah.